The Hale estate had 12 bedrooms, a music room that hadn't heard a note in 3 years, and floors so polished they looked like water. But only 2 beating hearts lived there, Adrian Hale and his 6-year-old son, Leo. When Maya Bennett arrived in a gray uniform and sensible shoes, Adrian thought he'd hired a maid to dust away grief. He didn't expect a woman who would kneel in wet grass beside his son and teach him to find his own balance. Adrian left on Mondays with a leather briefcase and a face that never cracked. "Schedules keep us safe," he told Leo, tapping his watch. Mr. Darrow, the butler, ran the house the way a good accountant runs a ledger. Tutors came at precise hours. Dr. Collins, the physical therapist, spoke in charts and ranges. Leo learned the rhythm of tap-tap-tap from his titanium crutches echoing down the marble stairs. The sound made Adrian's jaw tighten. He loved his boy like he loved deals fiercely, but at a distance. Maya learned a different rhythm. She hummed while she worked, eyes warm, voice low. When Leo fell in the garden one morning, she didn't lift him immediately. She crouched, met his eyes. "You okay?" He nodded, embarrassed. "Then we're fine. Grip here, not there. Lean a hair forward when it feels shaky. Your body wants to help you let it." She made flashcards with superheroes disguising balance drills. She called their sessions training. When footsteps approached, the cards vanished into her apron and she became a blur of dusting again. The house staff noticed before Adrian did. Mr. Darrow's gaze softened when Leo's laugh floated up the stairwell for the first time since Elisa's funeral. Every evening at 7, Adrian called from 3,000 miles away. "Are you progressing within acceptable parameters?" he'd ask. "Yes," Leo would say, eyes flicking to the doorway where Maya passed with laundry. After one call, Maya found Leo asleep clutching her purple scarf, whispering a word he barely remembered how to say. "Mother." That night she stared at a worn photo of her brother, Caleb, whose accident had taught her more about rehab than any classroom. "This is why I'm still here," she whispered. "That boy needs someone to see him." Adrian extended his trip. He also called Maya directly. "You're not his therapist," he said, voice clipped. "You clean." She swallowed her pride. Understood. She didn't stop helping. The morning Adrian came home early, the garden stones were slick from rain. "Perfect practice," Maya told Leo, hovering near, hands ready but not touching. Leo's tongue poked out in concentration. He laughed when he realized she wasn't holding him. The Bentley glided in. Adrian stepped out expecting silence. He saw Maya kneeling, his son clinging to her hand, joy breaking over his face like sun through storm. Rage rose fast enough to steal his breath. "What is going on here?" Leo, startled, slipped, and would have cracked his skull if Maya hadn't caught him. "Don't yell at her," Leo cried. "She's helping me walk." House faces appeared at windows. Adrian marched through puddles, fury tight as a knot. Inside. Now. In his study, mahogany and leather became a courtroom. "You were told not to interfere," he said. "You're confusing him. You are not his mother." "I'm not trying to be," Maya answered, voice steady but shaking at the edges. "I'm trying to be human in a house where that's become a fireable offense." She told him about Leo's drawings, 3 figures always holding hands, a man in a suit, a small boy with crutches, and a woman with kind eyes. Adrian's mouth went hard. "You forget your place. My place is wherever a child needs help." A small shadow filled the doorway. Leo's cheeks were wet. "It's always about me," he said, "but never with me. She talks to me. You talk about me." The sentence sliced through the room. Adrian reached for his armor and found it didn't fit. He picked up the silver frame he kept face down, Elise, smiling, arms around baby Leo. "Every time he struggles, I feel like I'm failing her," he admitted, the words shocking even him. "Safe isn't the same as happy," Leo whispered. Something broke open. Adrian offered a grudging compromise. 1 week. Maya could continue under Dr. Collins's supervision. "No secrets," he said. The boy grinned like it was Christmas. That night Adrian stood in the hallway while Maya taught him the 3-count step. Breathe. Shift. Plant. He was clumsy, almost fell. Leo giggled at his father and the sound didn't hurt. It healed. The next morning, police lights stuttered across the front drive. Trevor Kane, Adrian's assistant, stood with officers. "She's holding the child against his father's wishes," he said. "Possible abduction." Leo clutched Maya's hand. "I'm not kidnapped," he told the officer. "She saved me." Adrian stared at Trevor, cold dawning. There's no abduction. There's a caregiver who helped my son when I didn't. The officers warned him about false reports and left. Trevor didn't. The board won't like this, he said. Optics matter. Child Protective Services arrived within hours. Ms. Harper had razor-sharp eyes and a soft voice. She spoke to Leo, to Maya, to Adrian, and brought a specialist, Dr. Arjun Rao, who watched the three of them move in unison, the boy's posture taller, his fear tamed to something manageable. This is what we recommend and rarely see, Dr. Rao said. He didn't smile often, he did then. A package landed on the doorstep that afternoon, sent by Elise's attorney, a water-stained journal, ribbon marking a page written a week before she died. If something happens to me, Daniel doesn't need perfection. He needs presence. Hire warmth. Hire someone who sees his spirit. Money can buy machines. It cannot buy love that shows up. Adrian's hands shook. She knew me better than I did, he said. The story should have ended there. It didn't. A grainy security clip leaked online. Leo crying in Maya's arms, police lights strobing. Millionaire's maid seizes child, the caption screamed. News vans camped outside the gates. Board members called. Distance yourself, William Carr warned. Pay her off. Adrian looked at his son and chose a different kind of scandal. He sat with a respected journalist in the garden where everything had broken. He spoke plainly about grief, about hiding behind schedules, about failing the only person who mattered. Maya talked about the gap between clinical care and human connection. Leo appeared halfway through, walking with quiet confidence. We're all learning, he told the camera. Even dads. Public opinion turned. The morning show that led the pylon ran a mea culpa. Trevor's name started appearing in headlines about stolen footage and breach of trust. Adrian pressed charges. The board stopped snarling and started listening when major investors called to say they'd watched the interview with their own kids. One stormy evening, thunder rolling in waves, Leo stood at the base of the front portico steps, 5 slick slabs of marble he'd avoided since the funeral. I want to try, he said. Not because anyone's watching. Because I need to know. He climbed, breath shaking, Maya a breath behind, Adrian on the other side. On the 5th step, a crutch skated. Training snapped into place. Forward shift, controlled kneel, hand to pillar, rise. He made it. Adrian swept him up, rain washing grief off both their faces. Dr. Rayabi Luck, retrieving a forgotten notebook, saw it all and later signed an affidavit. Extraordinary progress in physical and emotional resilience. The board called another emergency session. Adrian didn't go downtown. I'll dial in from home, he said, Leo asleep upstairs. My son just did the hardest thing he's ever done. In a reversal no one could have predicted, the board not only kept him on but greenlit the Silver Step Initiative, a program built on Maya's methods. Caregiver training, family integration, micro-victory celebrations, data that measured not just stride length but courage. We want Ms. Bennett to lead it, Carr said. Officially, Maya negotiated like someone who had learned to survive wealthy men's rooms without losing herself. Independent oversight, direct lines to medical providers, scholarships to train more therapeutic companions, the first in Caleb's name. Adrian tried to put his own name on a donation. Maya refused. It's not about your brand, she said. It's about these kids. He didn't argue. Not this time. Ms. Harper returned for a final visit and found Leo teaching a younger girl the superhero stance. You're like me, the girl said. We can do it, Leo answered. But we do it better together. The report read, stable, supportive, thriving. At a quiet press conference on the lawn, Adrian did the unthinkable for a man like him. He apologized not for headlines, but for letting wealth masquerade as wisdom. I thought the best specialists were the same thing as being a father, he said. I was wrong. Reporters tried to bait him about boundaries and manipulation. Leo stepped forward, small but blazing. My dad isn't being manipulated, he said carefully. He's being taught. The mansion changed. Laughter returned to hallways that had known only echoes. The music room opened. No one cared that Leo's chords were clumsy. The walls filled with new art, Leo's drawings now crowded by pictures from other children. Elisa's portrait stayed in the great hall, no longer a ghost but a witness. Adrian stopped measuring love in invoices and learned to count steps in the 3-beat rhythm his son loved. Sometimes he failed. Sometimes Maya failed. They tried again in the morning. On the anniversary of the day, everything went sideways and then righted itself. Clouds burst over the garden, turning the stone path into a test. Leo put his crutch in Maya's hand and walked imperfect, determined his. Adrian and Maya said it in unison, a promise and a dare to anyone still clutching their doubts like a religion. We know. And if anyone wanted to argue that a maid had no business teaching a millionaire how to love his child, the rain answered first, soft applause on stone, while a boy who'd once been afraid of falling chose, instead, to move.